Gare Dondra Jeki Hyoma Dhamma Dene Vechenda Choma Dene Pedoso Taye Denya Dendera Dene Jo Saje Beje Joshe Medota Vedo Leje Yede Gemode Sanye Jendo Mede Bewai Dogen Namdo Jeno Shebore Sho Yedama Guru Rana Mandela Niyadaya Sangje Chedan Soje Shonam La Shajo Prado Dane Kyasoje Dage Chujo Jive Sonam Je Lola Beshe Sanje Dupura Sho Sangje Chedan Soje Shonam La Shajo Prado Dane Kyasoje Dage Chujo Jive Sonam Je Lola Beshe Sanje Dupura Sangje Chedan Soje Shonam La Shajo Prado Dane Kyasoje Dage Chujo Jive Sonam Je Lola Beshe Sanje Dupura Hola, Samajana Gitata Nebe, Singe Tamji Tando, Tojalana Mebayanda, Zobi Sanji Kumbarum, Bajikini Tobrashago, Tetobrashavi Cheto, Tambi Churum, Bajasen, Bekono, Shanju Semchi, say Sembe on the Sembra.
Let me remind all of ourselves to cultivate the altruistic motivation seeking complete enlightenment for the sake of liberating infinite, kind, mother sentient beings. With that kind of bodhicitta motivation, or we call Chamtu Sim motivation, that we should all participate in this teaching.
No, nice. I'm around someone or children is any. Kei chiku karesana ane chodan giti ni jinan da cho zo chewachi jingu gure.
As practitioners of spirituality or dharma, I feel that it is important for us to recognize and consider that dharma or spirituality is more important than worldly matters or worldly actions.
Ta karesana marancho ne the deja de ne chama karin tas nega da thodu ta dewa khande chi ne chama lo ta yung sang jong dewa da chue ba sam tang gor.
In other words, what I just want to get across to you is this, that as practitioners, we should recognize and consider dharma or spirituality as more important than mundane things and mundane activities. And the reason why that should be the case is because when we look within ourselves, what are we really seeking deep down? All of us are seeking, happiness here and now, and happiness that will last forever. The kind of happiness and peace that we could enjoy in the state of nirvana, liberation, and enlightenment. In order to have real happiness here and now, and also the happiness of nirvana, we need to cultivate spirituality or dharma, because it is the source from which we could find such happiness. When we look into mundane things and activities, whether we may categorize them as something, I should say, big events or activities or small or whatever the case may be. But it's really hard to see mundane activities, big or small, to lead us to the kind of happiness that we are seeking. And also, it is rather hard for the mundane activities to be, spiritual, to be spiritual activities.
Ta rang la penju pa yani ta rang la ne shwa shama penju la ta nuya ga ta juji chayung ga rabas.
If we look into mundane activities deeply, we can see that instead of getting benefited by them, especially in terms of many lifetimes, or we're thinking about the future lives, mundane activities that we engage in may even be detrimental to our future lives.
Jetin carbo tan jetin nabo na chan she ki tan kanan dema ko zon ta tende ke paru par de sung do te yungu sarvas.
From another point of view, we may be able to look at mundane activities or worldly activities in three different ways. There are those mundane activities which are, basically negative activities or actions, and then there are mundane activities which are, relatively speaking, positive activities or positive actions, and then there are mundane activities which are kind of a mixed, bag. Which are, not completely positive, but not completely negative. They are kind of mixed with a hodgepodge thing here. And so we may be able to see that within mundane activities we engage in, there are those three different types.
And take care of na, penan jitin carbon of stand to jabi na, ane rank and yen la ane pay chair da. Until the Korean nail young to put to share Tendika any land of the Savina, then you think later you are thinking that any show Shema Yankee went to 10 any round any Karasota, long shell as then join attended, you go to us.
Examples of positive worldly activities, the mundane activities, may include karmas or actions that we undertake, let's say in order to be of some benefit to others, or that in order for us to find wealth in our future lives, and to find maybe a better rebirth, and that much, nothing more. And so such mundane activities, may bring those outcomes, but basically they are, not going to liberate us from the state of suffering or from cyclic existence or samsara. So such activities basically, bring the outcomes within samsaric existence.
Sanjuji Sem Tang, Ninjung Sambe Mazin Big Gawaji Drubayina, that day, Ane Shama Susu any Dindu thing and Nindu thing in the Kayanta, Shama Negoji Devan Juji, Juji Saguars, Yenako, Sanji Compata Jun Dogama Sanji Sim Senior Marawas, and the Tabe Jun Dogama Karis and Jun Sambi Senior Marawas.
Let me clarify a few things here. That when we create or accumulate positive worldly activities, or what we call mundane activities, which are not underscored either by a sense of renunciation or the determined wish to be liberated, or by altruistic mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta, such positive mundane activities, they could only become causes of temporary comforts and happiness in samsaric existence. Now, the reason why are the following. So without the altruistic mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta, that state of mind, whatever positive actions that we undertake and accumulate, they cannot become causes for us to reach complete enlightened state. In other words, they do not become causes for us to become enlightened beings. Now, without the determined wish to be liberated, or renunciation, nyenchung in Tibetan, whatever positive actions that we create, yes, they do bring positive results, but within samsara, they do not become causes for us to be free from samsaric existence and its suffering.
So the time around to Muni Sigina, trade the Zoas in getting the Kyoto Shiguris, Yina and around to Capsulone, and getting the Zoas, I trade the Kyoto Dog, what's that the Nazo Carcelo Pomporis?
So, strictly speaking, what we really should be doing is, as open this today's teaching with a statement that as practitioners we should consider Dharma or spirituality as more important than mundane things and actions. But when we look at our really situation, and are we doing that or not, it's kind of a very unfortunate thing that we could observe with our own way of doing things. What we seem to be doing is considering mundane actions as more important than spiritual or Dharma. And so we take the Dharma as kind of a side thing. Okay, I got to do the mundane things first, and then, by the way, sort of I will do something Dharma. But what it really should be is the other way around, that we should be focusing more on spirituality or Dharma. That's really more important than mundane actions, and take the mundane actions as, by the way, I got to do to survive and do things.
And it's in that the Shavashama Nijinan, Shavashama the Zocha, yeah.
And another thing, as practitioners, we should recognize and consider our future life or lives as more important than this life. And of course, we should, find out why, the reasons. Without reasons, understanding reasons, then, it may not make much sense. Now, when we look at our present situation, we are very fortunate in that we all have this wonderful human life and all the opportunities provided by this life. And these are the results of karmic actions that we did in our past lives. So all of us being members of humanity or human world, in that regard, all human beings should have accumulated the same karma. It should be the same karma that precipitated our rebirth as a human being, as a member of a human family. So we are all same in that we are human beings. Okay, but as human beings, we do find a lot of differences among ourselves. in terms of many areas or variables or factors, if you will, that we differ from each other in terms of what we call in terms of knowledge and understanding and education. We differ from each other in terms of material status, rich and poor, and in between. And in terms of in terms of attractiveness and beauty, and there are those who are very beautiful and those who are not beautiful, and in between all those shades of beauty and attractiveness. So all these differences are found even as we are all same human beings.
Me shewa penji jile tibu sayar de yina ya ta ti mandra yungu ya ta zoje chile singi ta ngaran chama lo mandra ki sayin sani ani za zangi mangbu kin ta soba ji shong res.
So our precipitating karma may have been the same because we have all been reborn as human beings. But as human beings, we have different life experiences in the matters, few examples I just gave. And why is that? So how could it be, after all, we are all same human beings? Why some are rich, some are poor, some are beautiful and handsome, some are not, and some are highly educated and some are not, and so on and so on. Now, what we really see is that there are different types of karmas playing a role in this matter that we ourselves created in the past. So our precipitating karma, was maybe the same, but the karmas which complete our life, as we call it, completing karma, for lack of a more eloquent term, but it makes perfect sense. Completing our life, so we see the differences.
Finish karma sing do that in this. Ta ona ta ngaran chu tin jani ane ta mi shewa kiba lang yor de ina de le ki ngaran chama lo nduk si phang ba so manda kanza so ke ta mi le tin thoya ke le so sa yor se me le ki kanga nduk sin ni mi sha phang ba de tin sam pang jama.
And when I said that in terms of precipitating karma, we could all have been the same, that we are all reborn as human beings. By that, I do not mean to state as if, there was this kind of a universal karma, only one karma, that precipitated the rebirths of all of us, billions of people in this world. That's not the case. Each of us, did and accumulate individual karmas to be reborn as human beings. So we should not think as if there is some kind of a cosmic, human karma somewhere, and that is the only cause which made us all human beings. But that's not the case.
So that the reasons that Shawan Dilikan, social courage, Shumina Tete, social Namite, Namikin Deputy, laced up in Namikin Deputy, means Saravas. There's Zayaka Yamari.
So whatever we have already experienced in this life, good, bad, and others, these have been the outcomes of karmas that we ourselves personally accumulated in the past. And whatever we have already experienced, there's nothing we could do about it, because the karmas have already ripened, and we have experienced them, or we are experiencing them.
Young. The psyche which is so that's what you jig to us. And then so carries and some do it.
Well, if we cannot change the results of the karmas that have already ripened or are ripening upon us, then you might wonder, okay, what about the changes people are trying to bring into their life, the cosmetic changes, all kinds of, I think that's what Geshe was thinking about, I assume, all kinds of surgeries and, this suction and that suction, whatever. So what is all about that? Can't we really change the look and the, size and whatever?
다 다른 도구는 야, 그 다른 도야, 도든 도야 그냥 레키 산 코테가 레티 그래서 남이지 용기 알았대.
But the interesting thing is that the actions undertaken by individuals who are trying to modify themselves, they're creating new karmas, which will bring different outcomes, or which do bring different outcomes.
Yes. 다음에 레이트 가르스데 레이트 산에 다티기 그 레산에 티 사병이 돼서 기후거로 봐. 티 조복 돌 대기가 말했어. 벤센들 레장보 사기는 냠바 사빈 드셔 심하게 란다 년도쇼 연구야 그랬어. 무슨 소자 다 첸들 레 사바데 야 데스도 가바 대기야미다. 야 산도지 땅 그랬어.
So as we talk about good and bad karmas that we accumulated in the past, and the results of which we are experiencing now, or we could experience in the future. But another thing that we need to consider is, where do karmas get stored or preserved? In other words, we create a lot of karmas here and now, but these karmas are not stored in our body. Body is not a storehouse of the karmas or the karmic imprints. But when we take, when we undertake actions of the karmas, these karmas leave their imprints or deposit their propensities on our state of mind. So our mind is the real storehouse or the carrier of the karmic imprints from one life into another life.
박자 야사들 기미게 박자 야사들다 전타마 망보직 먼저 유아다 때 망보 현처럼 거 추그랬어.
So this is where even within the different philosophical traditions in Buddhism, and of course non-Buddhist philosophies have their views on this matter. So what kind of a mind or a consciousness that stores the karmic imprints and that carries the karma from one life into another? So this matter has been contested, and different philosophical standpoints have been made. So I do not want to go into those things and confuse you more.
No. 다 게메기 레산에 디 박자 야사데 소소 샘지토를 야고요 그래서 다때 탄조일 루시다 다 토현도 당문이 야사 때원도 다 지고요 그랬을
So just to simplify the matter, according to the highest Buddhist school of tenet or thought, we call Prasangika Madhyamika school or Tenjurwa in Tibetan, when we create karmas, good and bad or neither, these karmas deposit their propensities or latencies, the imprints, on our mental consciousness, on our mind.
정말 받은 다와타가 그 어만 주번을 저와 말리 레레시에 프라숭스 저와 말리 받을 레레시에 받 산지 좀디 간나요 레스 돌리 아 셈반는 레장 요마이스 다 게메게 그 박자게 생부터 마게 셈도 마게나 때 안에 레데 용고 말레스 셈반는 레장 요마이스 손쳤다 박자게서 때 생부터 야고요 셈서 셈그 주인데 시와시말 판도에서는 게메게 그 안에 박자때 양도쇼 레운 거요 레스
Great Indian master Acharya Chandrakirti, in his supplement to the middle view of Madhyamik Avatar, states clearly, as Geshe quoted the lines from his memory, he said, all different types of the beings and the different environmental world systems are the outcome of positive and negative karmic actions. And if these negative and positive karmic actions leave their imprints on mind, if there were, no mind to begin with, then there could not be positive and negative karmas. So basically what Chandrakirti is telling us is that, what connects one life to the next life is our mind. And our mind is, carries the imprints of positive and negative actions from one life into another life, and we experience, the results of those, karmas. So why do we need to give more importance to future life or lives than this life? One of the reasons is that this life is already here, for good or bad. It is here. We have already experienced it to a great extent. But the future life is not yet here. It is something which has not yet arisen, has not come into being or existence. So therefore, it makes much more sense for us to pay more attention to future life so that we will be able to, to whatever extent we could, determine what kind of life we would like to have in the future.
Rangi is none unis in a yin so cherishes. Ranley, me yin, Saint Yin, that's the Michamba, Saint Yin, the Ranley, Saint Yin Tamaluta, gay chow to go this.
Now, another thing, as practitioners, we should keep in our mind and we need to do is we need to consider others as more important than self. So when I say others, I literally mean all other sentient beings, not just the fellow human beings. Yes, there are, except oneself, all other human beings are other human beings. But we're not just confined to human world alone, but we are thinking about sentient beings across the universe. And so we need to learn, or we need to, attach more importance to others than self.
That the Junse Kegurus, Junse Carnesana, Rana and Tsin Debu de Chibu. That's Tsin that the Shava Shema Tenigare. Rana Debu de Chibu United, yet the Carres and Yenatin Yungueres, just thinking Yenatin Yungueres.
Of course, again, we want to know the reasons why we should consider others more important than self. And then it would make more sense and it would stay with us. It's when we think in terms of, comforts and happiness, either in this life or in future lives, others are really important to us. As a matter of fact, they are the basis, or as we say, for creating, for finding, I should say, comfort and happiness in this and future lives. So they are, in some sense, source of our comforts and happiness.
That is, Sanu Chunju Ton Tambina, Rang and it's in the any lutense, Tengana Togo Tamsunta, Togo Totako, Atante any devil the she will level, Takandiki in at the Unite, Joe Sinkin Latin, Sinkin Yelatin Shung to us.
Just kind of trying to scratch the surface of the matter here. When we think in terms of this life, and when we think of how did this life begin, in my case, well, we know that this body which we have, it has come from, others' efforts and, others' help here. And now, even as we are living this life, we think in terms of the basic necessities of life, food, clothing, and shelter. How do we get them? Because it is through the kindness of others. And so when we even think in terms of becoming famous, and I want to have a status, a name, all these things are accomplished, relating to others and independence upon others. So therefore, others are very important, to our life.
That tele, and they tell it Lagba, when an Aranzo Tabe Combat Toy top drinking in the Carseta. Lana me bayado yanda ba zobe sanje komba top den hi ta den din kin na ta senji jo senji yin tamje le den go yo re desa ma se ta re te alete sun.
So even in the, how should I say, the worldly matters here, if you will, then others play a very important role in our life, and they are important to us. And now when we go beyond that, we go into more sort of a transcendental, spheres or matters. For us to be able to be free from samsara, single existence, or to become a Buddha, enlightened being, we really need others. Without others, we cannot attain nirvana and enlightenment.
That tende sonsa ane gihilar tamba gatanda lojon tsigima tamba ndo dan sinke tamjini yino bi lape tencho drip samba ta kepran zemba kyos da ran kebran de bekinzi da yen kebran de bekinzi ina na ni nane yen kebran de bekinzi ta ngaba selon teri yobes chagures.
In this regard, I would like to quote the words of great Kadampa Geshe Tsultim in his 8 verses mind training or thought transformation lojong. And as Geshe quoted the stanza from his memory, and he states, "May I be able to see all sentient beings as much more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, and through reliance upon them, I would be able to accomplish both my temporary and ultimate purposes. With that kind of understanding, may I be able to cherish them both day in and day out." And that's how important sentient beings are to us in terms of fulfilling the purposes of our life.
Kong sungbate ane shinjung gu duja tunso gon sungbares ta kona gu lusi kong ga ne to gombal tinde yabati tangwe sung yerde yinaya zo sungsa de shinjung gu duja na ngaranso gon sungbares ta ngaranso de tubashakres.
So such words of great master Langritangpa Geshe, Kadampa Geshe, of course he didn't need to say those things, to himself. I mean, he already did that and he experienced them. But he said those things which represented his real intention, and he wanted to communicate his ideas to us so that we, the members of his posterity, would adopt this kind of thinking, line of thinking, and follow, this line of thinking.
But the ran kepan de bekin this ta yen ane ran le yen kepan zin ak te jongre mato te so so ene sem tole jonda majena te de yo mar yung marwas.
So basically we are talking about 2 things here. There is what we call self-cherishing attitude, and then there is the attitude cherishing others, other sentient beings. So we need to, cherish others more than self. Of course, that is easier said than being done, because it involves a lot of mind training, lojong, thought transformation, in order to be able to feel deep down in our bones and marrows that others are really much more important than I am, and I need to cherish them more than myself. So that kind of a feeling, genuine feeling, stable feeling has to come through training of the mind. It just doesn't come on its own, or it can't pop up just on its own.
Ta jondi sane ta rang thili yang ke ta aling ngela do sam tangres rang phama du cha chawasi tane na te abu kom suna ane rang le ane phama ta rang pingya du rang le cha chawasi ta rang chimse ta ane garo ta ngar ngo he ba ta ngo he mi samalu ta Yenje Mavashin, Remberi Paja, Lord the Jack Church Township, Louis Tambo Rang Tilly of Tenzin Dorjee, and a Jack Church, Sing it Tamjila, Sing it Tamji, Rane, Ranle, and a Zacho, Tovik, those in Remberi Mizongurmato, Tambo hoped to the New Maravas.
So our goal is to cultivate a genuine attitude, cherishing others more than self. That has to come through sustained mind training or lojong practice. And where do we begin, or how do we begin this mind training? Of course, we have to begin it at a very personal level. We need to learn or train our mind to cherish, for example, our parents more than ourselves. We need to cherish, say, our family members, other family members more than oneself. Now, as we get better with that, then maybe we go with the extended family members. And then we go into the next door neighbors and cherish them more than ourselves. Then we slowly extend that attitude to more and more people in the neighborhood, and then to all the people in the same locality. And then once we do that, we go beyond that and now extend this attitude from the local to the global level, and then go beyond that and try to extend it to all sentient beings, in the entire universe. See, so that's how it has to begin at home.
Yes. That thing you can send it maybe, Shamba the Hiji Gombi and Tambo does in the Junkin passion, Najaker Township, give her some, but thank you for shaking.
So what is involved in our mind training is, to cultivate love and compassion for others. Of course, again, that has to be personalized and localized at the beginning. We first try to cultivate love and compassion to just few individuals or beings, and then we slowly extend them to more beings and more individuals. And that's how we try to cover all sentient beings with love and compassion. So I have shared a few thoughts, this morning, and I would encourage you to investigate these thoughts and ideas and find out whether they do make sense or not. I run through just to run through the main list. This is in my footnote. We need to recognize and consider Dharma as more important than mundane affairs.
Wait a minute. That's it. And Ali Tambo de Tusu, Ali to something Gagina. Ali Tambo in those Cuban bus. Ani Kudan Yeti Nish Nani, choose all chicken, then you didn't always seem to touch on Tantas.
As a matter of fact, Geshe wants to, do that himself, so I don't need to put a footnote there. Okay, so first thing, I began saying that, we need to recognize and consider spirituality or Dharma as more important than mundane things and activities. Having said that, at our personal level, each of us has to figure out whether we are doing that or not.
Then you didn't so shit.
But through our self-examination, if we find out that we consider mundane activities and things as more important than Dharma or spirituality, then we have, gone wrong in our thinking and position. And next we need to consider of this and future life, which one do we consider more important?
That's in this all zone, just in the and it, little dread, so shit. So some you do not, then as not rested.
And through self-examination, we find out that we are so much caught up with the affairs of this life and activities that somehow we forgot a future life, then we have really gone wrong.
What we should
be doing is that we consider future lives as more important and work more towards and for future lives and do the things we need to do for this life, sort of a secondary thing. By the way, we got to do to survive this life, but it's not as important as our future lives.
Tayang Randa Yin Nani, when is Nata Yendu Zoshe Randu Kol Duguers. That the Majabashin Arazo Pay, Randu Zoshin, Yendu Korshin, Sunzate, Norvas.
And then we need to consider others as more important than self, and we have to now ask the question to ourselves, do I consider others more important than self? Do I cherish others more important than myself? Now, if we find out negative answer to the question, that is to say that I cherish myself more than others, then we have gone wrong in our way of thinking.
Honest. That Tenzin Dorjee, Ran Kebran the Tenzin, the Yin Kebran the Tenzin is Nani. That Ran Kebran the Tenzin Dorjee, Yin Yaur don't do nothing and do us.
So, as I just said, relating to the importance of others, more importance of others than self, so we talk about the two types of cherishing attitude, self-cherishing attitude and other cherishing attitude. So which one do we have? And if we see that we are holding self-cherishing attitude, but we don't have cherishing attitude towards others, then we have gone wrong, in our, attitude. So what it should be is that we should cherish others more than self. Of course, that doesn't mean we don't cherish ourselves at all, but we cherish self, in that context, that we cherish self so that we will be able to cherish others more. So that's how, we should be thinking. What do bodhisattvas do? Bodhisattvas are completely dedicated, to the betterment of all other sentient beings, and that is what they are focused upon. And through such dedication, they fulfill their self-interest on the way. So they are taking care of themselves indirectly or by the way, but they are really dedicated towards and for other sentient beings. But now what we are doing is just the opposite, that we are completely dedicated to self, and we are not dedicating ourselves to others. And so where are we now? If we look at our situation, we really haven't been achieved much through such dedication to the self and forgetting others, whereas bodhisattvas dedicated completely for others and less for the self, and they have accomplished a great deal. So I have been doing such contemplation or thinking, and then I started to realize that we have been making such errors or mistakes in our thinking and positions. As we look at ourselves, honestly, what we find is that when it comes to, spirituality, cultivating spirituality and engaging in spiritual activities, we are lacking quite much behind. And when it comes to doing negativities or things involving negativities, we are, it seems like, ahead of game. You see, just like, we can just jump right into negativities, and there's no hesitation, or there is no, we make quite an advancement in doing negativities. We are far ahead of the game, but in terms of spiritual actions, we are lacking much, way behind.
No, no, that ngarang ke sambat lis dang bin se sa tini jani ngarang to chama lo ke ta chue dong ke so ke ani ta samna ya bo tang sing ngarang tu ju ni ki nang ke seng ke thole so su ani du ju ke shawa te kande zangi kande yung ya me tak chi ya go shin na te ya bom duas.
So I have been doing such contemplations for myself, and I would advise you to do the same thing, because as practitioners, we really need to engage in such contemplation and investigation of what we are really thinking inside us, and we need to try to bring that inner transformation, positive transformation within ourselves. So we really need to check with our own way of thinking in regularly or in everyday life.
Oh, that kasi tinjang dan ma shugins.
With that as a preface, for today's teaching, I'm going to move into where we left off, last time in our wonderful text called a Miscellaneous Collection of Kadampa Geshes Advices.
Hola, tan du song do yang cherta drum temba las kandi khusa den drum temba re ta ani shungkhe de temba la kunche sumchis kadam kunche sumbe boto wa she shenga wa she ani pushung wa da kunan sumbu de kadam kunche sum shuyer kunche sum go de ani da drum temba le ndus ya khubeta da de ta yende phu so ba she balas da ga ten ta yin je ten phu so ba she balas ani tawa ta she ba ni she ta shu ni she na ni ani kar ge che gre ya kyundo.
So now we begin with a new set of questions, and so again it says the three Kadampa brothers, we call them three Kadampa brothers, Kuchesum, asked Domtemba another question. First, let me re-recognize the three Kadampa brothers, and they are Geshe Podawa, Geshe Chengawa, and Geshe Puchungwa. So these three are often referred to as three Kadampa brothers. And they asked Great Domtemba, in order to benefit both self and others utmost, to the greatest extent, which of these two things is more important to the view, which is called tawa, which is in other words the philosophical view or the view of the nature of phenomena, and the conduct. So which of these two things is more important, the view or the conduct, explicated in Buddhism?
That then, don't tembe any tembe katama kalin number. Kalin then tembe henes. Danger kansa kicks, that kansa kicks, that thing kansa kick. Take what you be go to nes, that. Take what you be go to Cubashi, ya go to Cubashi. Take what you be go to get the carriage and young, Shanju say Ranju shake Gugaramato, Maranso, take what you be go to Sigamarda. Nanzi, that take what you will remember Chirama. Take what you be go to say at any. Taking lamp the any Shanju same the taking as in Yogorba. The thing is that Negani you can't guess. Die gauge terms, that and gauge term, pushes over Shabala, Tower number tapa, Shava number tapa, ni, soon the jaguars at that. That's you with the soon jaguars.
So the great Domtemba answered the following. Having entered into the Mahayana path, an individual who would like to benefit both self and others the most, to the greatest extent, should integrate both the pure view and the pure conduct. Those two things, the pure view and the pure conduct, must be integrated together. So now let me explain what he meant by like someone who has entered into the Mahayana path. Now this does not simply mean that, okay, somebody becomes a follower of Mahayana. What this really means is that someone who has cultivated the altruistic mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta, who has it, who experiences altruism, such a person has entered the Mahayana path. And all of us are here, we aspire for that. We would like to become or enter into Mahayana path, but we have not yet. Okay? And so such a person must integrate, combine together both the perfect view or the pure view and the pure conduct.
Oh yeah, that ngarancho di ngos songsa de regu amar de yena ngaran thikwa chembol meba yisani tawa tashu ni nan tashu ni nan tawa de sheba ni ga de song de java ji go res ngarancho go res ngarancho go jong res.
Of course, the three Kadampa brothers asked that question to Domtamba, and Domtamba was addressing them directly. But, their conversation or the dialogue and the answer given by Domtamba has also relevance to us, although we are not the direct disciples or the audience for his answer, but because we are seeking enlightenment and we have interest in spiritual development, so therefore Domtamba's response applies to us. And so we need to integrate both the perfect view and the pure conduct.
Honest. Yadirji mutusu tawa tang shoba yadirji tawa changba tang shoba tawa meba shini shoba changba shi shoba meba shi tawa changba shini te ne yadirji mutusu kar mutusu no sanji kompa togu mares kanangba ta danyingba shi.
And the great Domtamba says, if you separate the two, yatal means you split it up. You split the pure view from the pure contact and the pure contact from the pure view. You just kind of divorce them, separate them. Then that won't do. What does he mean by that? Won't do, meaning that, if we only do one of the two, either the pure contact or the pure view, but not the other, we split it from one another, then we cannot reach complete enlightened state.
Honest. Matus. Ona tashu number taba chita la shu pe da yang khona sum ge ana tende in ande tashu sung de go ga na ani tawa da shu ba nimbo de kan de jires ya kyun du was.
So then the three brothers asked a subsequent question. You said, okay, if an individual has to integrate the pure view and the pure conduct into his or her spiritual practice, then what are they? Now, what is pure conduct and what is pure view?
No, that tembe chen ha ka kanamre da lendel tawa number taban nis then tambre chue tangji ngobu jen ma drupes yeme tang ta da tak chi se tang ta de chen tan la so be ta tamji de jawa dollars dan de ni so so dan le ka se ya tai ji xian de de yo da de me gua shi je dan de yuan ta se zhong dou shi men ta de gun de bi ni a de ge an de tak chi ta tang ta de che dan ni la so be ta tang ji de jawa yi dou gu res kan.
Great Domtamba answered, pure view, the pure view here means that one must realize that in ultimate sense, all phenomena do not exist truly, and they are free from the extremes such as the eternalism and nihilism, and so on. Of course, the so on means that, sometimes in the Buddhist literatures we talk about propounding the view or the nature of phenomena free of many extremes, as many as 4 different extremes. So I'm not going to go into those here. But here it would, I think, suffice to say that phenomena are free of the 2 extremes. The extreme of eternalism, meaning a fabrication. They do not exist in the way we fabricate them to exist. That's one extreme. And they are free of the extreme of annihilation or nihilism. That is, that they are not completely non-existent either. Okay? So if we realize that in an ultimate sense, phenomena are free of those extremes, that's what we meant by the perfect view.
다 군접들 다 군접들세 된다면 손다듯이 군접들세 천난게 최단이 가상의 휴제 최단난게 최탐지 말람 주마 말람다 주마다 아니 주바다고 해그레스.
So in an ultimate sense, as I explained before, that we should understand or realize that all phenomena are free of the extremes of eternalism, fabrication, and nihilism, non-existence. And conventionally, we should understand that all phenomena do exist, just like a dream, like an illusion, like a magical creation.
No. So the kunjok 최든지 아니 말람다 주마다 아니 저바다비나 아니 되시 누구 말에 배사나 되시 그거래 되시 누가래 라랑게 샤벨레 세그래.
But if you wonder, if phenomena exist conventionally, but they are just like, what we see in the dreams, or they're just like an illusion or magical creation, then can't they serve any purpose? Well, they could, you see. That's how they serve different functions or the purposes, even as they exist, just like a dream, like a magical creation.
랑기 집에 말람도 좀아도 줘봤는데 요마로 나기 그 최탐지한테 대나기 랑기 줘봤 짠 매바지 단도 간는 거요레스.
Just as there is nothing in our dream that exists in and of itself, and there's nothing in the magical creation that exists in and of itself, no phenomenon exists from its own side inherently in and of itself.
대양사 then 주마다바 만나다바 해바 대양세다 대양 랑 same senam 바기도 또데스 다 던져야데 또에 던져야다 랑 same 나와다 바기레스 그래서 또왜 파타바 잠마도 대응원이 랑원이 주바지 매비지 갖는 거였다.
So how do phenomena actually exist, if you ask? Is they merely appear to our perceptions, and they are simply or merely imputed by terms and concepts. And that's it. That's how things exist. They are merely imputed, by our conceptual thoughts.
So ngōpo kāngāyā yī mētē kīngsētā kāndē chānā ngōpo kāndē jīnā yī mētē sēyā kārē sēnā yā sāngā tōngshī yāmārē sōngu yāmārē chādāng yī mētē bāshēs ngōpo kāndē jīnā yā anī chāla chākbātā dāngwātā anī tēndē kā yī tēchī yāmārēs mētē parās kāngā yā jīsā mandāngwā jī yīnsētā.
So with such understandings and realization, we must not get either angry or attached to any kind of phenomenon. It doesn't mean that we should not think about phenomena or we should not engage in them. What it means is that we must not, let delusions such as anger and attachment arise in relation to things or phenomena and then pursue them.
차단기 이메일에서 공부들이 많으나 뭐고 가나 이메일에서 대 국반나 있다 배치 상장동 명예선에 다대 공부들이 상단이 땅면에 건너래서
Of course, we do have to engage in phenomena. We have to reflect upon them. Otherwise, we, kind of think like, okay, we should not think about anything at all. Don't let any phenomena come into our mind. Then it's just like we are basically closing the door to understanding and realities and knowledge. We're just kind of making ourselves stupid. It's just like, okay, I'm not going to think about anything. I'm just going to shut my mind down. Well, that's not a good way to do it. What it really means is that we need to engage in phenomena. We need to reflect upon them, but we should not reflect upon them, under the influence of anger, attachment, and so on.
Alright. That is down number the That Shaban number is that Shaban number countries and Kunzo be Kunzo. Malan Juma Chandu, Lake Kanakan Debut Mahoa Chibachigurta. Pena Chotangi Malan the Jumata, then the Yinaya, a Lendeta, Lake Carbulate and Napoleta, can stop in Tanzuga, debut Mahoa, Jundi Huama Pachitanga, but the Shegur.
So that is what is meant by the pure view or the perfect view, Tawa number Tawa in Tibetan. Okay, so now what is the pure conduct, Choba number Daba, or the pure behavior, if you will? And then the Domdava goes on to explain that even though conventional phenomena are just like what we see in the dream, or just like a magical creation, but we must understand the infallibility of the working of law of karma and its results. In other words, that even though conventional phenomena are just like a dream, just like a magical creation, that does not mean that we can do anything we like, and our actions have no consequences. As a matter of fact, that if we do something positive, it will, definitely bring positive results, because that is in the law of nature. It never fails to do that. Or if you do something negative, it will bring negative results, because that is in the law of nature. So the law of cause and effect functions, correctly as it is, even though phenomena are just like an illusion.
That Lendi Melo Shenes, and it corrects not the Lendil and Zengo 2000 Lendil and Zem. Zenton Karisana, Migi Shola, Migi Lisan Masavetica. Give a lake and Richina to continue to do it, or the Richita Shenguris.
So if our actions, both positive and negative, are consequential, means they do bring positive and negative results, then we really have to pay attention to our conduct, how we perform actions. And so what we really need to do is we need to engage in positive actions, and we need to stop creating negative actions or getting involved in negative actions.
No, that the Lendil and Zemhi. That Zembats mind with that tea told Karizana, that are matopes. Lendi can now get machine that singing to the list, matopes, and then singing on a tiny chamber, and then singing the jumping ghost.
So not only do we need to pay attention to our karmic actions, and we have to apply ourselves properly, in that we do the positive karmas and we don't do the negative karmas, but relatedly, we need to cultivate great compassion for sentient beings who lack understanding of the infallibility of law of karma and actions, who don't understand it, who don't know how the law of karma functions. And with that understanding, that we develop great compassion for sentient beings who lack understanding of law of karma, then we, we engage in actions to benefit them.
That tendiga touch tower number top of the Shabbat number top of Tayans, and then Shanju sent in the database, that's number top of Tayan. Shanju sent number ni, Jilla Sheba Killa, Mankin Johnsons, 제가 된대가 다시 넘버 잡았더니 아니 상주세로 뭐지 란주를 셰베 다리 된대 상주에서 근저 상주 생님보다 란주를 셰 세베 가서 나도 땡강강 휴휴기다 간까지 매봐 던 종거래스 가능도.
And Great Domtamba goes on to say that those who have already generated the two minds of enlightenment, the ultimate mind of enlightenment or ultimate bodhicitta, and the conventional bodhicitta or the conventional mind of enlightenment, they will find themselves spontaneously adopting the pure view and the pure conduct.
Well, tati aning namju dash namju ne do sen yares. Tawan number of seven gomba number tashi tagum shoes number tabaki do sen zinang yares.
And I also want to just mention this that we also sometimes talk about three things which are perfect or should be pure. We talk about the pure view, Tawan number Tagba, or the perfect view, Kompan number Tagba, the perfect meditation or the pure meditation, and Chepa number Tagba, the pure conduct or the behavior.
Tawan number Tagba Tagas Maris, Tawan number Tagarusana, and Tachi Tang in that Rokuji Ta, Tachi Tang in that Javachita, Nepal, Tawan number Tagba thing about the Gurus.
So the pure view is not any kind of view. It is the kind of view relating to the ultimate nature of phenomena and try to understand how that view is free of the extremes such as fabrication or eternalism and nihilism or annihilation. So, what I just explained, it comes to the same, basically that's what it is, the perfect view is.
Gomba number Tabagrasine, Gomba number the Gom number Tabas, Young Shepalas, Chingu, the Tevati Guguris.
So, how can we have perfect meditation or pure meditation? But in order for us to have a pure meditation, if you will, our meditation has to be free of laxity and excitement or dullness or mental agitation. So in other words, that our meditation should not be influenced by either laxity or excitement. It should be free of those two obstacles.
Tashaba number Taba Kadi Gurus and Natahazi Tashaba Yaran of Drizam Zangu Mari. Karayasana, Sanji got the Timbati. And Sanji got the timber, Jayakai in Drupati Gugur.
And pure contact or perfect contact just doesn't mean to be to adopt any kind of a nice behavior, just to be polite and nice. It's not that that much. It really means is that we are adopting Buddha's teachings in our life, that we follow Buddha's words in actions.
That can take you go to the time in a little Manju Twigir Kanga Tuya Martina, Remberempe, Tanga Jongo Sambi, somebody shoot over Shene, the like Jumba Shed Kachimodus.
I understand that the things we have talked about, are in many ways maybe above our heads, and we are not yet there, and we couldn't do everything that has been talked about and that we should be doing. But that does not mean that we don't pay attention to these matters at all. These are very matters of great importance, and so we should think about these things, and in whatever ways we can adopt them, or we can make efforts to, towards them, developing these things. That's what we should be doing.
No, and Aranso Tunda Duji the Pen Chamber, she was ready in an Aranzo Tone and it to do Majovashini, that high Kibujin around Samal showed to us. This is the Pangbon to us.
The things that we talk about are, of utmost importance and meaningful. as you can see, developing the 2 months of enlightenment and so on, the perfect view, the pure conduct. But in our life is, distracted by many things, and so we do not find time, or we don't make time to cultivate these matters of great importance, and that's what is really, as we think is a sad and unfortunate.
That Namjini Senjela Nebe Rictum to Kandikina Rangle Lutang Ata Yisumke, Senjela Nebe Rictum Zane, Majebashe, Ane, the Pembe and the Brutuna that do it, Maran Samalok Santongandus.
So as I often, remind all of ourselves that in our everyday life, we should see that, our actions, our body, spirit, and mind do not harm or hurt anyone. In other words, that we don't physically hurt someone, or verbally hurt someone, or mentally hurt someone. But on the other hand, that our actions, our body, speech, and mind are beneficial and helpful to others.
That's in the Nange Shawat and Rajo Hibushin Dusin Tango Code was. You might take an egg bed, this is Samalong Raso. Tonga the Turbat and Tembe Yujabat and Samalu Bengane. That Kasumi Kari Chame Jume Giltandus in Lagos was. This is the Kachamadu was.
We are so much consumed by the concerns and the activities of this lifetime. This life has become so important to us that we are caught up with everything to do with this life. But we really need to consider that our day will certainly come, that, all these things do not really matter we do in this life, for this life. And at a certain point, it becomes part of our memory. Now, we couldn't do any more those things, so we just remember what we did, what we saw, what we heard, what we, said, and that's part of the memory. And now we even couldn't say those things. Then later on, even we couldn't keep the memory. Now the memory fails here, see? So all the things we are caught up with this life, at a certain point of time in our life, it is a sure thing that these things really don't matter much.
So the Shimalaya, the Nangashagat, the Tempe, you didn't Jogumara was.
So, whereas, even the things we do in this life, say, good and bad, all things, these are stored in the memory. After a while, the memory fails. And really, how do you say, the things become so insignificant at the end of the life.
Oh, that is that. Shimata. Shimata, and think that dealer Shimala Pembe Church, the Tamaloke, Kachamba Yimbe Santani, do can do that.
So the point I'm trying to make here is that all of us really, by looking at this, things from this perspective and considering all this matter I just talked about, we should see that, we need to make efforts, for our future lives, so that, we don't get too much caught up with this life, but we are making efforts for the betterment of our future lives. So we will stop there today, and before we do the dedication, I have 2 announcements and 2 prayer requests here. First, I would make an announcement. The Tibetan New Year, we call Losar, is on the February 18th. It's a Sunday. And I believe this is also, this year, the Vietnamese and Chinese New Year fall on the same day. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. So as most of you know, that on the first day of Tibetan Losar of the New Year, we have a simple gathering at our monastery in Long Beach at 7:30 in the morning. Together we do a simple prayer ceremony for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and for the well-being of all sentient beings. And then we will serve you light breakfast. And usually that's how people go to school and work, but that's a Sunday, so you can hang on, I think, a day. And then at noon, we will have potluck at Veterans Park in Long Beach. And I think there are flyers in the lobby with all this information, so you can take one on the way out. Now, the second announcement is about, I think, the DVDs of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's Pasadena teaching last year that we organized will soon be available. And so in the lobby, there are the order forms. If you would like to have DVDs of that teaching, you can fill in the order forms, and they will soon be available in our bookstore. Okay, so those are the announcements. Now the prayer request. Gary Van Kuren has passed away, and prayer has been requested for Gary. And Esperanza Villa is, in advanced age, and she's on her, dead bed. So prayer is requested for her too. And Michael Gleason is, not doing well with his health. So we prayed for his recovery from sickness.
No. Sende dan cheda dengi na neba tunju chedu ani ngaju mani ji tens eteuni ani na tanjo ani ta shinke na ji sho shima ani karsa ta nge solo matong ya ta tendu re ade ani shawa ta chue dupe ani tengi thoya ta samta ani nading dingina ta nade nasa te khande jingina tele towe ani manam jarushis.
So we have heard the names of few people here who need our prayers, and for those who have passed away, let us pray and dedicate our prayers so that their good karmas get activated and they find a good rebirth. In the good rebirth, and then in the next life they will pursue positive actions and spirituality. For those whose health is not doing good, we send our prayers for their good karmas to be activated so that they recover soon from their sicknesses and then pursue positive actions.
Shalom Gori Joe and Jabo Tomo Shalom Baba Sanje Tom Kala Konde de la Tete Simba Shere de la Shanse Lo Mani Bimo Mani Bimo Mani Bimo Yawadi Yudo Nashiri Zaman Dujo Nendo Kijam Te Salango Parasho Ola Tataranganjo Take the Chuchi should be given Zaula Teni Sanji Temper Machita Jigger the never show. And the Javigin of a Chepe, Tinzi Ship Tambanaji, Kuzikabe Tenji, Tujindo to the baby to do young show. And then Chu Donkey, that the Chuji show Pomonam, Kundi Shavana is and drop it. And then Jeti come that I gendo, Muntibi Gusota the Henny, Tujin Sota the baby to do young.
Together we have accumulated merit by way of participating in this teaching, and we dedicate our merit for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all other great spiritual masters. May they live long and be successful in fulfilling their visions benefiting sentient beings. May Dharma, the source of benefits and happiness, flourishes throughout the universe. May spiritual communities be harmonious and be successful in fulfilling their dreams and spiritual dreams and aspirations. May these and other world environments be free of all kinds of unwanted pains and problems, and beings find peace, happiness, prosperity, and spirituality. In short, we dedicate our collective merit for all kind mother sentient beings to be free from the fears and dangers of two types of mental obscuration, obscuration to liberation and obscuration to omniscient state, and may we all reach complete enlightened state quickly.
The drink not is still at those.
No.
Just drink you that by your sugars.
Keshala is busy, today, so he said you could visit him another time.
Yeah. Thank you.